Alberta Primetime with Michael Higgins.
Welcome to Alberta Primetime. Ahead tonight, our politics panel on the Smith government shifting direction on its industrial carbon tax program. But first, talking tariffs with China.
This is another step in finding our way through what is a pretty difficult time for a significant Canadian industry.
Saskatchewan's premier, after a meeting with the Prime Minister Tuesday, debriefing trade mission efforts in China, where Scott Moe's delegation met with government agencies responsible for imposing steep tariffs on Canadian canola products. And joining us now, Andre Harpe, producer in the Grand Prairie area, also chair of the Alberta Canola Producers Commission. Mr. Harpe, good to see you again, sir.
Yeah, glad to be back.
All right, and back you are. You're already back from a very quick trip to Ottawa. You were on hand for Scott Moe's meeting there with the Prime Minister. What was the message coming off his diplomacy mission in China?
You know, it was really interesting. We had, frankly, we had a very, very good meeting with the Premier and the Prime Minister. Basically, the Premier, Parliamentary Secretary Cody Blois, who was also in China, basically had nothing but positive things to say. Obviously, there's a lot of work to be done yet, but I think what I got out of it was a very, very good start.
And Scott Moe is pushing the federal government to build off that start and any momentum created by the delegation traveling to China. He wants cabinet ministers to be sent, maybe even the PM at some point. What's your understanding then of next steps?
Well, you know, like any trade relationship, this is a relationship, and I think it's obviously it needs to be worked on. Currently, we're shut out of China. We can't sell canola into it, so it's something that needs to be worked on. And I would encourage, and we did encourage, the government to continue that relationship. And I do know they have been invited back, and I do know that they are planning on going back. And like I say, it's something that needs to be worked on.
So how complicated a conversation is this with the Chinese, or is this now as simple as Canada dropping the 100% tariffs on electric vehicles?
You know, this is international trade. You know, trade, it's very complicated. I don't think we can blame any one tariff or any one situation on what's happening right now. So I think what we have to look at is basically, and I do know the government is very acutely aware of, basically their relationship with the United States and with China. And basically they're trying to look, they've got to thread that needle to work with both countries and hopefully get our product moving again.
So is it possible to engage with the Chinese without risking an impact on relations with the U.S.?
Oh, I think so. They were over there last week already. We were able to hear, and we were able to hear that they were actively engaging with officials that they have not been able to meet with for quite a few years already. So, things have changed already. The anti-dumping investigation into canola, they could have stopped it and put a permanent tariff on. They didn't. They extended the anti-dumping investigation. So I think there's a little bit of wiggle room there and a little bit of indication that the Chinese are willing to talk to us.
Is there an impact on the ground already on canola prices as a consequence of these 76% Chinese tariffs?
Oh, very much so. We're feeling it. We felt it actually as soon as they put the tariffs on. As I was heading out to Ottawa, I took some current pricing, but at the same time, like we're losing well over $1 a bushel now, and for the average Canadian farm, that's anywhere between $50,000 to $100,000, and that could be the profit. It's gonna mean we are going to start looking at what we're not going to purchase this next year.
Yeah, that is for sure significant. So from a producer's standpoint, what kind of dilemma are you left in then once this year's canola crop is in the bin? Do you plan to sell? Do you hang on? What happens?
Well, no, there's a great question, and we're all asking ourselves that right now. I think right now we're in the middle of harvest, and that's why it was a very, very quick trip. I'm going to be back harvesting today, but I think what's going to happen right now is let's get our harvest over with, see where we're at, and we're really, really hopeful that this is not a long-lasting problem that we're having right now. So.
Okay, how willing are producers to live with some degree of Chinese tariffs on Canadian canola? Or is open market access the bottom line?
Well, we need market access. They're a $5 billion importer. It's a lot of money. They take a lot of product. It's not something that we can replace overnight. That's one of the things we did talk to the Prime Minister about. There's short-term and long-term implications. And one of the longer, or say medium-term, is basically we really need to look at renewable fuels in Canada. That way our product stays here and it can be used here.
Now, in terms of Ottawa extending a helping hand to producers, what degree of support are you receiving from the federal government at this point?
Well, so far to date, they have announced approximately about $450 million worth of support. And it gets back to we do appreciate it. At the same time, depending on how long this lasts, it's not going to be near enough. The announcements that have been made are very, very short term. So if this is 3 to 6 months, if this is over by Christmas, I think we can live with that. But if this goes into the new year or lasts or further, we have a pile of hurt out there if it lasts too much longer.
Okay, well, and maybe to end, Saskatchewan's premier in Ottawa saying he's hopeful an agreement can be reached by the end of the year. Is that a level of optimism producers here in our province are sharing?
The thing is, we walked out of that meeting yesterday, and I actually have to admit I felt quite positive. The Prime Minister, this is, as far as we can tell, this is the first time the Prime Minister has actually sat down with the agriculture industry in times of a crisis. So basically, I think what we really took out of that meeting is they're listening to us, listening to what our problems are, what our issues are, what's going on. And, we had a good, frank discussion on where to go from here. So we're really going to have to wait and see if this could get solved by Christmas, and gets back to Premier Moe was quite optimistic about that yesterday. That would help out a lot.
All right. Really appreciate the opportunity to chat with you so quickly after this meeting. Good to chat, sir. Thank you.
It was a pleasure.
All right. Andre Harpe is a producer in the Grand Prairie area, also chair of the Alberta Canola Producers Commission.